But more or less my call, giving you a call just in regarding your online training with the crew and seeing how all the learners went.
Yeah, thanks for setting this meeting up. I've reviewed all of my learner feedback forms for my recent online training and assessment. And yeah, I'm ready to discuss what went well and what maybe I can improve on going forward.
So was there any feedback that you received from the learners, all the crew that you had?
Yeah, so as required with the online training and the assessment, I handed out my feedback forms for evaluation from all the learners that attended the online training. And I did get some feedback. So overall, the feedback was really quite positive. Learners said that they enjoyed the fun and engaging delivery style. One even said that it made the content much easier to understand. The interactive elements as well also stood out as a highlight in my training sessions. Like some of the learners as well, they appreciated the clarity of explanations and the opportunity to learn online in a flexible format. So a lot of them that attended had constraints that made it unable for them to actually attend training in person. And of course, it was their employers that had put them forward for this training as well. So they really sort of enjoyed that. There was especially valuable for those with busy schedules involving children, like I said, constraints, things like that. However, there were a few technical challenges, particularly around accessing the links and the resources at the start of the session. So while I was able to resolve these pretty quickly, it still sort of impacted the initial flow of the training. One learner also mentioned some parts of the content felt a little repetitive, and another felt certain that sections didn't seem maybe as relevant. But I think, like I said, overall feedback was pretty good.
Yeah, very nice. And was any areas for improvement that you could identify?
Yeah, I think the biggest area for improvement for me was the accessibility and perhaps the timing of the resources. Like I said, learners did have a couple of issues accessing the online content and the links provided, which it caused a bit of a rocky start in that respect. I think also based on feedback, I identified that some parts of the session could have been streamlined to reduce perhaps a bit of repetition and just better align with some of the core learning objectives, I feel. But I think for me, the main thing that I would like to improve on would be just perhaps navigating the online facilitation of training a little better, just so that I'm comfortable moving forward with completing online training. So the more technical side of things, I think I could improve on.
Yeah, I suppose I guess next, was there any areas in training, that stood out as a success for you?
Yeah, for sure. I think there was definitely most of the parts that stood out for me. So I feel like I created an engaging, enjoyable learning environment for the people that were involved in that training that day. So learners mentioned that the session was fun and it was interactive, which made the content easier for them to absorb. So that was pretty good feedback to receive, I think. I also responded pretty quickly and calmly to the technical issues that we faced, and just try to manage that as best we could so that it wouldn't actually disrupt any of the online training for the people that were attending. So help keep the session on track without too much disruption. So I think for myself, that was something I was quite proud of how
Yeah.
that was handled. So yeah.
And probably just to answer the next one, but have you considered options always to implement changes in next learning?
Yeah, yes, for sure. So like for future sessions, I think I'll be sending out all access links and resources, things like that, maybe 24 hours in advance, just along with maybe a short setup guide for learners, just so that they do have that guideline to follow. So they should really help prevent any access issues, any resource issues beforehand, so that it gives learners time to sort of test things beforehand. That way they can let me know if there are any technical issues.
Yeah.
I'll also include a bit of a short tech check at the start of each session, I think, just to sort of make sure from my end that everything is working and that we're not going to face technical issues during the training that is then going to cut into their training time. On the
Yeah.
content side of things, I think I'm going to review the delivery structure just to remove any repetitive elements and make sure that all the content actually really supports and aligns with the learning outcomes. I think I'm also improving on how I present and guide the learners through the aligned assessment process, just maybe providing more of a structured instruction so that support is easier to navigate with them. One specific issue that I had was with the breakout room function in Microsoft Teams. So I wasn't as confident with it as I would have liked, and it didn't run as smoothly as planned. But to address that, I have arranged for some personal professional development. I've enrolled in additional training focused on using Teams effectively, and I have really good support in doing that as well. So that really just includes that management of breakout rooms and other tools that support engagement and group work in virtual classrooms. So yeah, that's something I've taken upon myself to make sure that I get organized outside of the classroom so that I can really expand on my skills, which will then allow me to better train and, like I said, help those that are wanting to learn and expand on their skills.
Yeah, excellent. And probably one of the last things it says that anything Silverstone or I can do to help improve your sort of next learning delivery to a class?
So if possible, I'd appreciate if you could just review my revised session plans and resource pack before my next delivery, just to make sure that everything's aligned and accessible. And also if there's a standard checklist perhaps or best practice guide for Teams delivery, so I know that we operate out of Teams quite often. So if I can just incorporate that into my preparation materials, yeah, that would be really good. But aside from that, the support has been great. Yeah.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, well, I'm back up on swing after next R&R, so yeah, we'll look forward to catching up to him. We'll definitely go over a few things.
Yeah, perfect. Well, thank you so much for the feedback. I really value it as always. Looking forward to improving on my next virtual session of online training and assessment. But yeah, as always, thank you so much for the feedback.
Yeah, pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, you too. Thanks so much.
Thanks for today.
Bye.
See you later.